Chapter 1, Techniques. So what is it that I recommend that you do to help end your depression? Well, the first thing we must do is we must accept. We must accept the fact that, yes, you are depressed, but there is something that you can do about it. You do not have to be depressed for the rest of your life. And you do not have to be depressed from this day forward. But you can be, and it's okay to be depressed. See, most people resist pain. And it's this resistance to pain that actually causes more pain. Carl Jung said, "That which we resist persists." It's so true. So what am I proposing here? I'm proposing that you just give up trying to be happy, or trying to be different, or trying to be someone other than who you are right now. Just for now, let's just accept the fact that you are depressed. So, what's the next step of what you can do? Well, depression is a thought, and it's not only a thought, it is a habit of thought. So you've been thinking depressed thoughts, so therefore you're having depressed results, you're having a depressed experience in your life now. So it's not so much that you all of a sudden woke up one day and started becoming depressed and then the downward spiral happened. You are the results now of your past thinking and present thinking. So what you can do is start today to create a better outcome in the future. Now, do not expect this to change overnight. Coming out of a deep, deep, dark depression does not happen overnight, unless you can truly disidentify with the thoughts that you're thinking. What do I mean by that, disidentify with the thoughts that you're thinking? Well, this is the strongest and most important technique that I believe that I can show you for helping you end your depression. You must realize that your thoughts are not who you are. Most people are so consumed and identified with their thoughts, they cannot separate who they are from what they think. But the reality is, who you are and what you think are two completely separate things. You are a different person than what you think. Now, the results of what you have experienced in your life right now are the results of what you have been thinking in the past. For example, if I wanted to go on a vacation, let's say 60 days from now, well, I would start planning now to go on that vacation. I would book my airline tickets. I would pack my bags. I would start planning to be that person who is on vacation 60 days from now. So the same thing is in with your depression. You are depressed and you're probably expecting future depressed thoughts. But what I want to emphasize here is not so much about thinking as it is about not thinking. I want you to start to disidentify with who you believe that you are. Your beliefs are not necessarily true. I used to believe in Santa Claus. Then I found out one day Santa Claus isn't real. So my beliefs suddenly changed. And here's what I can say, is that there is what Wayne Dyer refers to as the ego, E-G-O, or edging God out. When we listen to the ego, we do not allow a higher power to come fill our lives with love. Now, you may not believe in God, and jokingly, all joking aside, God may feel like it's the farthest thing from you when you're in a depressed state. But the reality is that there is energy everywhere. And I believe that God is this energy. It is the very energy that allows you to read this book right now. See, there is no accidents. You actually connected with this book thinking that it was going to solve a problem for you. But the reality is, you and I were meant to be destined and connecting together. You were meant to be reading these works because it's designed to fulfill a higher purpose in your life that you may not be able to see at this point. Eckhart Tolle one of my favorite authors, wrote a book called The Power of Now. I highly recommend this book. Eckhart Tolle is one of the top spiritual experts, and what Eckhart Tolle recommends is to take a moment, take 5 minutes, sit down at a comfortable place, perhaps on your couch, and just breathe. Begin to just focus on your thoughts. Just focus on your breath. This is very difficult for people. Often they do not put this in place. People tend to focus on the external things like working out or working at their job, but hardly anyone takes the time to just sit and do nothing. I want you to sit and do nothing and just focus on your body. I want you to take deep, long breaths and feel the energy that is inside you. Really, that's all I want you to do. Now, you're going to have thoughts that are going to come up. And most likely, these are thoughts that are depression-type related thoughts because you've been thinking them for so long. Your mind has formed the habit of thinking these depressed thoughts. But rather, I want you to allow those thoughts to come and then allow them to just go. So now you can begin to enter a state of mind without thought. When you can do this, truly, you will begin to understand what many scholars have understood from a long time ago, which is that we are not our thoughts. We are energy. We are the same energy that is God. Look at your hands right now. Do you see your hands? Do you see all of the energy? You know, the scientists have shown that what we see is not what we think it is. That the atoms are constantly moving in and out of space. And when we look at our hand, for example, there's actually more space than there is substance. The space between the atoms is larger than the atoms itself. So what does that mean? That means we are mostly space. So how can you translate that into helping you with your depression? Well, I just want you to take a moment to understand. And not just a moment. I want you to continue to practice this technique several times. Because when you do that, you're going to begin to realize that you are not your thoughts. This is what happened to Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle was severely depressed. He felt the pain so much that he was thinking about ending his life. One night, he actually felt like he died. And in his mind, he did because he surrendered to the pain. The next morning, things were different for him. He woke up and he realized that the freshness of life was all around him. He just refused to experience it. He saw the birds chirping. He heard the birds chirping. He saw the sunlight coming through the window. Normal, everyday objects appeared magical to him. For example, a pencil, or a stapler, or a pair of scissors. So, when he did this, he suddenly became free from his ego. Now, is this a continual practice? Yes. Being free from your ego is a continual practice. The ego will often creep back in very slowly. So you have to be mindful of what is the ego. How do you know if it's the ego? Well, it's running the show 99% of the time. 99% of the time you're thinking. Now, if you don't believe that you're thinking 99% of the time, I'm going to allow you to stop reading this for a moment and just observe all that is around you. Now, what do you notice? You probably notice that you're still thinking. The thoughts are still going on. The thought is always going on. We are creative beings. Human beings are thinking all the time. Therefore, we're creating our life all the time. Now, you might be saying, no, I'm not thinking. Well, that's you thinking, I'm not thinking. You see how that works? Now, there's this voice that is an internal monologue that is constantly going inside our minds. The monologue is constantly saying, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, I like this, I don't like that. It is commentating on everything that is going on around you. And the degree to which we believe this mind chatter is the degree to which we are identified with our thought. So you are actually not depressed. You are actually a blank canvas. You can actually create your life exactly how you want it to look. Because if you are not your thoughts, then you are nothing. Worded otherwise, you are no thing. In other words, you are anything you want yourself to be.